So we have a radio in the plane, that's right here. This is, you and I are communicating with each other through the use of an intercom system. Right now, nobody else can hear us talking, unless I push the button on the front of this control stick, and you have one as well. If you push and hold the button, you're broadcasting out on this set frequency. This frequency is used by planes that are using this airport or Collingwood airport. So frequently we're going to hear other people talking. Don't worry, they can't hear us unless we push and talk over them. So right now I'm just looking to make sure there's no other planes coming in here to land. I don't want to pull onto a runway that somebody's landing at. Looks clear to me. And I'm going to have to make a radio announcement to the world, let them know that we're entering a runway.
And Midland traffic, SportStar India Juliet Kilo Yankees taxiing from the apron for 16 departure.
All right, so we're lined up. If you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, let's do this.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees on the roll, 16.
Right now I'm going full power with the engine. I'm steering the plane with my feet. And we're off the ground. So this part tends to be the roughest part of the flight, the initial takeoff, because we start going through some low-level air currents and it might bump us around. That's completely normal, so don't worry if you feel any of that knocking around. The higher we get, the smoother it tends to get, so.
I heard that Midland Airport is almost one of the hardest airports to land in because of the wind.
Yeah, a lot of pilots will. I've heard them say that. Yeah. I'm so used to it that I don't think I notice it anymore. And I guess thankfully my students don't notice it. If we're training there, you just don't know any better.
Yep.
So I think yeah, I can see that, because what makes landing and takeoff difficult is having wind coming at you from the side, right? So they call it crosswinds. Well, this airport's pretty much positioned north and south, and our winds in this area usually come from the west. So you're almost always getting a crosswind here.
Approaching altitude.
So I guess here's a question for you. Since we have an hour, we can go in any direction. Is there any particular direction you want to fly in, or something you want to look at while we do this kind of flight experience?
Altitude.
We can go towards Blue Mountain, we can go towards Aurelia, we can go towards Barrie, we can go, I don't know, wherever you like.
Let's go towards Blue Mountain.
Sure. I'm just going to get us up just a little bit higher, and then you're going to start driving this thing. So what I'm watching right now is I'm watching this. This is our airspeed. That's how fast we're moving through the air. And that speed is in knots. Not kilometers, but knots. Very similar to miles per hour. So we're moving pretty quick right now. We're doing pretty close to 100K climbing. Here's our altitude. Now, the altimeter is telling us how high above sea level we are, not necessarily how high above ground level we are. Because, you know, the oceans of the world are zero. This area of Ontario is about 700-800 feet above sea level already. So we start off setting this thing to ground level, 800 feet whenever we started. So now it's telling us we are at 2,500 feet above sea level. We take that number minus 800 and it tells us how high above the ground we are. But for the most part, we don't need to know how high above the ground we are anyways. When a pilot flies, the thing we really need to know is just what number we want to pick. And we tend to fly at it. So right now we're 2,500 feet above sea level. I am going to set this little blue indicator on there for you. Makes it easier to look at. The plane is flying pretty much on its own right now. It's nice and level flying this way. So if you want to take your left hand and put it on that control stick, just gently, try not to grip it too hard. And I want you to walk through a few turns with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plane and I'm going to turn it left. So just feel how much this control stick moves. That's it. Just a little tiny push. You'll notice the turn's getting steeper and steeper and steeper. So to stop that, we pull it back this way.
That's very little, eh?
Very little. The bumping around you're feeling is just a little bit of thermal activity. That's normal. Okay, so we're going to try a right turn now. So I want you to feel that little motion. Just a little pull. You'll notice how we're banking, we're turning, our direction is changing. But it's going to keep getting steeper and steeper and steeper unless we pull it back a little bit. There we go, just like that. So those are the two motions there that are very sort of simple to show you. The next one will be how to climb a plane. So if we want to go up in the sky, right now we're still at 2,500 feet. You'll notice if we pull the stick back a little bit towards us, you'll see the nose will come up. And you'll notice we start climbing. That's going up now. Another thing that happens while we're doing this is you'll notice the airspeed started getting slow. It started coming slower. The slowest I like to fly this plane is at 60. So if I pull back harder, it'll slow down a lot more. Now we're at 60, so if I want to speed it up, I push the nose forward a bit. Now we're back to flying level, but the airspeed's going to start increasing now. Another thing I can do is add some power if I don't want to go any slower than 60. So if I push this in a little bit and pull back to climb. Now we're climbing at a faster speed, which is safer. We're climbing much faster, and we're in no danger of this plane going slower than 60 at this point. So right there, I'll level it off, let it come down a little bit like this. I don't need all this power to fly level, so I'm just going to pull it back just a touch. And now I'll walk you through what it's like to descend the plane. To descend, we just give a little push forward on the stick. You'll notice that we can see the ground and we're pointing towards it now. Another thing you'll notice that is happening is our airspeed is increasing because we're going like down a hill, right? So it's picking up a lot of speed, so I'm just going to reduce the engine power. They don't need that power to go down. So those are the basic flight characteristics of the control stick. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to level this thing off, and I will let you turn it in the direction of Blue Mountain. Right now I've put you at 2,700 feet. We could be at any altitude you want, but feel free to move that control stick around and play with it. Have fun.
Now I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. I'm right here. I'm not going to let anything happen. Feel free to just move that control stick around.
Leaving altitude. Approaching altitude.
Don't worry about the reason why the computer's talking is because I put that little blue thing there, and if you leave the blue thing by about 100 feet, it'll tell you that you're leaving or getting close to the altitude that's set. Don't worry, there's no law of what altitude we have to be at. We can be anywhere we want. Now, if you want to go towards Blue Mountain, Collingwood, what we should do is probably go along the coastline. The reason why, if, God forbid, the engine ever failed, I don't want to be swimming out here.
Oh, no?
No, it's just a little bit far from shore. Now, I've never had an engine fail in this thing, but a pilot should always think about that whenever they're flying. So we fly kind of accordingly. Hey, you're controlling this thing pretty good.
It's like nothing to move it.
Exactly. You're in a gradual descent, but that's okay. It's a real small one. See how we're down to now 2,500. Now I can tell your level again. Another instrument that will tell you more accurately if we're climbing or descending is this one right here. If the needle is on the 0, we're flying level. If you have the nose up a little bit and it's in a small climb, you'll see that needle start peaking up a little bit. So you were saying you've been in small planes before, huh?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Cool. But never controlled it?
Like a little bit, but not really, no.
Well, in the case of today, you can really do anything you want with this plane as long as it's not dangerous. And trust me, I won't let you do anything dangerous. So feel free to even really move that. Like if you really want to do some aggressive turns or whatever, this is the time to do it when you're with an instructor. And please, if you have any questions for me, ask away. There's no such thing as a stupid question, especially in aviation.
So, what's the difference between like a float plane?
The float planes obviously are capable of landing on water. They have usually pontoons underneath them instead of wheels. Or they might be amphibious, which will have pontoons and wheels. They're really, really cool. They tend to be more expensive because you have that option to treat it as a boat and land it and dock it. They fly similar. The landing and takeoff has a little bit of a different procedure, but if you can fly, generally if you can fly this with mild 5-hour training, you can fly the float plane, no problem.
Landing advisory at your airport, please.
Last aircraft calling, this is Collingwood Unicom, altimeter setting is 3013. Winds are variable, 2 to 3 knots. Active runway this morning has been 13.
13 for Collingwood. Thank you very much, man.
Pretty cool up here, isn't it?
Yeah, really pretty.
You can see a lot from up here. And it feels like we're barely moving, doesn't it? But we're moving. We're going along pretty good. I'm sure you know how long it takes you to get from like Midland to Collingwood if you had to drive it.
Yep.
You'll see we'll be there in no time.
How long did it take you to get from here from
Edenvale?
Yeah.
Usually about 12 minutes. So it feels longer, right? Because just like anything that's exciting, your brain processes it differently.
So for this plane, where is a good altitude to fly at?
It all depends on what type of flying you're doing. There is no such thing as a good altitude. As long as we don't go higher than 13,500 feet, we're okay. The way it works is there is certain laws that kick in of what altitudes you can fly at. So since we're in this area here, this is considered rural. We can't go any lower legally than 500 feet without permission of a landowner. So if we want to fly 500 feet over the ground over top of these farms, we can do it. Once you get over top of what they call civilization, like where there's a density of houses, you have to be a minimum of 1,000 feet above the ground. And that's the basic laws. Now, if we wanted to go up to 10,000 feet, we could. It would burn a lot of fuel to get up there. It gets colder up there. There's a lot of winds up there, so you got to be ready for that. But once you get above 10,000 feet, you're going to need to bring oxygen with you because there's no oxygen up there. It's very thin. So that's the downfall of going up there. We're coming up on Wasaga Beach now.
That's fast.
It's right over down here. You'll see it if you turn out this way. good thing about flying over the water is it tends to be quite smooth out here. In the summertime, in the middle of the day, when you fly over top of land, it gets rough and bumpy from turbulence. So it's kind of a catch-22. It's nice and smooth to fly out here, but if our engine fails, it sucks because there's nowhere to land. But if we're over land, it gets bumpy, but we usually have a lot of places to land if the engine fails. So you gotta weigh the pros with the cons. Yeah, if you want to, we could even lower down a lot more. It's up to you.
Sure.
You want to try it down there?
Sure.
All right, so just allow the nose to come forward a little bit and start descending. And I'm going to put that little blue indicator on 1,800 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just reducing the power because we don't need power to go downhill. You could feel that we're just kind of gliding, right? So at this point, the engine's doing nothing for us. You're just gliding the aircraft.
Approaching altitude.
So now we're roughly 1,000 feet over the ground, maybe around 1,100 feet. This way you can see a little bit more stuff on the ground when we get lower, right?
How long have you been flying for?
Oh, you're gonna make me give you my age. I started flying at 16 and I'm 40 now, so a while.
I don't think I ever knew that there was like a river going through there.
Yeah, that's the Nottawasaga River.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It goes all the way this way, that way, in through the forest there, and then eventually all the way past Angus.
Yeah, I used to live in Alliston area.
I think the Nottawasaga goes through there.
Yeah, it does.
It does, yeah. Yeah, that's why it's so brown. It's because all that farm dirt from inland is coming out like this, out to the Georgian Bay. So right now we're over top of part of Wasaga Beach. The only thing we're going to want to avoid is over here in the distance, it's hard to see for now, is Collingwood Airport. We don't want to get too close to the vicinity of an active airport. So if you want to take the plane and just bring us this way, or we can go way inland, it's up to you, but as long as we don't go near the airport. It's up to you. Collingwood it is. You might be able to see some Elvises leaving town right now. They had their big festival this weekend. I'm just going to make a radio announcement to let other pilots in this area know that we're in the air here.
Wasaga Beach area traffic. SportStar India Juliet Kilo Yankee is 2,100 feet above Wasaga Beach, traveling westbound along the shoreline en route to Collingwood Blue Mountain.
Local traffic, this is Cessna 150 Kilo X-ray uniform. We're coming up to Collingwood Airport. We're going to join, go to the dead side, turn around, join the left downwind for 13.
Good morning, Collingwood Unicom, Charlie Fox, America, Charlie Radio check.
Where is the Collingwood Airport?
It's right over there. I don't know if it's past a few fields, and you'll see a bunch of hangar buildings littered over there. The runway's tough to see because it runs in this direction. So see this highway here, right? This big highway?
Yeah.
And there, you go to the next one, there's another road that runs that way.
Yep.
Kind of follow that road to the green field there and go look left, and then you'll see the long runway back there.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now there's a little bit of activity around that area. Planes landing and taking off, and you never want to get too close if we're just passing through. So look at this, we've been in the air less than 20 minutes and we're already in Collingwood. So, and we also flew the coastline. If you wanted to get there quick and go right across, it would have been 10 minutes. That's a real cool thing about flying. You get places really fast, right?
Runway 13, we'll be climbing onto runway heading to circuit altitude.
Where's the furthest that you've gone?
Pardon me?
Where's the furthest that you've gone with this plane?
I've taken this plane to Florida.
Collingwood Unicom,
Yeah.
Oscar Alpha Mike, radio check please.
How long did that take?
It was like 9.5 hours flight time.
Oscar Alpha
But I
Mike,
did
thank you.
it through the course of a whole day, right? You know, you do 3 hours, stop, have a meal or something, get some fuel, go again.
Collingwood Unicom 150 is now ahead of the airport 2.5. We're going to the dead side, turning around, joining the left downwind for 13.
Depends on the type of person you are, but I love that. Like, that's like the road trip from heaven. You're flying through and landing at strange airports, and it's kind of cool, right?
With traffic, 150 is now over the dead side, turning around, and we're going to join the left downwind for 13.
So far you have great control on this thing. As you can see, I'm doing nothing here. I'm just sitting here as a passenger. So that's really, really good. I have a feeling that you're pulling my leg, and you have flown before, but and maybe a significant amount of flying, but
Collingwood traffic.
Well, I used to be in Air Cadets, but I never...
okay. Never just went through with it, huh?
No.
Yeah, with
I wish I did.
with Air Cadets, isn't it like a prerequisite that you have to do glider training? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Collingwood Air Traffic, Charlie Fox 9, Echo Charlie is climbing.
I can't remember actually ever, like I remember being in the front, but there was someone behind me, so.
Right to westbound for Lake Eugenia, Collingwood.
Collingwood traffic, 150 is now turning final.
Was it a long time ago that you did that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when I was 14.
Yeah, so the obviously the problem that happens with aviation, if you don't stay in it, I find a lot of people lose it. Just because we don't, in our day-to-day lives, we don't really use our brain in that way, right? To think about the way we fly. But that's why it's always, wise for somebody, whenever they get into it or want to stay into it, just remain current in some way. At least twice a year go out flying.
Collingwood traffic.
That way that skill won't slip, right?
Collingwood.
It's unfortunate. It takes a lot to train somebody to be a pilot, and if they just let it go by the wayside, it's unfortunate, right?
Yeah. So there's different levels of
There is.
ratings, right?
Yep, absolutely. So what we're flying here is actually in the advanced ultralight category. It's a newer category for Canada. We always had ultralight, which I'm sure you know what that is. It's like poles with kite sails on it, a snowmobile engine, right?
Yeah.
A rickety little plane. And then this category came to the States called light sport aircraft, which is essentially a plane. It's an airplane that technically is a little bit lighter than the classifications of, say, a Cessna, which is the private pilot. So Canada didn't know what to do with it. They didn't want to create their own. They didn't want to create their own licensing or whatever for it, so they just threw it in the ultralight category.
50-30 after 13.
But by no means would you call this an ultralight, right? Like, this thing is an airplane. It's got full autopilot. It's doing very similar speeds to, say, a Cessna. It can do very similar distances.
Mike rolling 13, right turn out, local flight in Beaver Valley.
So this plane's capable of flying 7 hours before you need fuel.
Wow.
That's crazy, right? Like, your bladder's not going to last that long. Being able to go up 13,000 feet, well, basic ultralights can't do that. So, and to get a license in this category, you're looking at 25 hours of training. Some people do it in less. Like I got one guy that's flying out of Midland, he's at 17 hours and he's good for solo now. So he'll be done his license for 20 hours.
Wow.
So it's going to cost him, say, at $3,800 for a license. And the license is for two-seater, ultralight category. You can only fly during the daytime. You have to remain within Canada with that license. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And people do that as a cheaper way of getting their private pilot license, because you become a pilot at a cheaper rate. Then when you transition to the private pilot license, so you just got to put in a few hours, but it's not like they're going to teach you anything. You already know how to fly, right? We learn all the same stuff as the private pilot, you know, navigation, weather, all the characteristics of flight, laws, all that good stuff for a cheaper rate.
Traffic outside JI departing on road 13.
And part of the reason why we can do that at a cheaper rate is these planes don't cost that much to operate per hour as opposed to the certified. So that's the difference.
This last week I had to drive my daughter over to like Sauble Beach area.
Oh wow.
It took me 3 hours to get there.
I'm sure. So at the rate we're going, Sauble Beach is that way. Well, we wouldn't make it there within an hour of point and back, but we've been in the air for, I don't know, like 25 minutes. 25 minutes probably take us another maybe 30 minutes in that direction. We'd be at Sauble Beach. The drawback to ultralight is they're only two-seaters, right?
Yeah.
The 2 seats plus room for luggage. So that is Georgian Peak Ski Resort right below us there.
So cool on a plane. It's like we're looking at like a Google map.
Yeah, exactly.
So should I start turning to head towards Midland now?
Oh, you can do whatever you want. You can go in any direction you want. I'll just advise you of areas we have to watch out for. Like I said, we've only been up here 25 minutes. We still got time. Is there another area you want to check out?
I don't really know this area too well, so.
Okay. There's not much over here. We're not allowed to fly to that point there because that's a military base. The Beaver Valley, I don't know if you can see the contour of the earth there. See how it cuts in?
Yep.
That's the Beaver Valley, and all the way at the south end, there's a little waterfalls there. That's kind of cool to see sometimes.
Collingwood Unicom, this is Golf Romeo Tango requesting your radio check. Golf Romeo Tango.
You can go off towards Barrie. It's up to you. Doesn't matter.
Barrie is that way?
Barrie's going to be... Look at this. Your direction is awesome, too. Yeah, I'm gonna find out there's a hidden camera on me, and you're gonna be like an Air Force pilot. You're gonna do crazy shit with the plane, flip it over, and
Wouldn't that be shocking?
I always think one day somebody's gonna pull a stunt on me like that. I'm up for an intro flight, and I find out it's somebody with 10,000 hours instructor experience in a aerobatic plane, and start doing crazy shit.
Collingwood, Eugenia air traffic, Charlie Fox 9 Bravo Charlie is about 1 mile to the east of Lake Eugenia at 5,500. I'll be doing some upper air work, Collingwood, Eugenia.
Yeah, everything looks pretty cool from up here, doesn't it?
It does.
I just can't get over how well you're controlling this thing. Like, this is really, really good. Most people are overcompensating a little bit on their turns and direction and altitude. You're almost holding your altitude nice, although like you're climbing and descending, but you're not doing it like out of control, which is amazing.
Like a roller coaster?
Yeah, I tell you, I do this every day, and most people do that, and I'm complimenting them when they can arrest that kind of motion within 5 minutes. You're holding it straight the whole time, so it's nice.
What's that little island over there?
Which one are we talking? Right down here?
Yeah. Like the...
I used to know the name of it. It's got a lighthouse on it.
Yeah.
Okay, this map doesn't show me that much detail. I forget the name of it. But there's nothing on it except for that lighthouse.
The sun's hot when you face this way.
Yeah, I can pull this down a little bit more here. That help a bit?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
That's the one drawback to a bubble canopy. Like, you get amazing visibility in these planes because you can turn your head every which way, but they get so hot in the summer. Like, at least the air coming through is relatively cool. We're actually being spoiled. This is nice and calm up here. Some days it can get so violently bumpy, you don't know why you got out of bed.
It's so cool in the water how you can see like the sandbars.
Yeah.
Collingwood Airport traffic says the 172 Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee inbound from the east. I'll be looking at landing in about 12 minutes on runway 31.
We're now at 4,000 feet above sea level. We're nice and high. So that puts us roughly, well, take 4,000 minus 700 feet. So we're a good 3,300 feet or so above the ground. The reason why a lot of pilots will fly at these altitudes up here, it gives you extra safety. So if your engine was to fail, at this altitude, we could glide so far and find a real nice spot to land. In the case of where we are here, if this engine was to stop, we would just land right at that airport. We'd just kind of go right for that runway and land. It would glide there, no problem.
What do you do when there isn't an airport?
Well, generally, when a good pilot, you train yourself to always look for stuff. So as I'm flying leisurely, I'm just flying along, I'm always thinking in the back of my mind, oh, that's a nice field. There's another one. Oh, there's another one. You know, you're always looking. You obviously don't want to burden your brain with it, but like I said, in all the years I've flown, it's only happened to me once. And I think it was all my fault anyways. I was flying a real junky plane. So I could have avoided it if I was more strict on my standards.
Oh, there's a bug coming for a ride.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they have a way to scare you sometimes, especially if it's a bee locked in here.
Oh. A June bug would be the worst.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that would suck. Oh, yeah, they'd be flapping around everywhere. And you can't open the canopy to let them out.
Collingwood Lake Eugenia air traffic, Charlie Fox Now, Echo Charlie is over Lake Eugenia at 5,500 feet. Check chasing upper airwork, Collingwood.
Is that Georgian Bay that we can see over there?
Well, this actually is Georgian Bay here.
Oh, is it?
Over there, technically, what would they call that? Penetang? Now let me think of what they would call. Look at what they call that. Because all these things are part of Georgian Bay. Yeah, I'm not even seeing the name of the waterway. Like it's Honey Harbor, it's Midland Penetang Bay.
Oh, is that a racetrack there? Or like horses or something?
I think it looks like it probably was at some point. It's I guess the farmer's just laying out his tubing on it instead. Yeah, there would have been another one right there for horses. There's quite a few of them in the area. I guess it was a really big thing at one point, right? But you can tell all these things are dilapidated now, not being used.
Yeah, it's so sad to see the drive-in over by like Wasaga Beach
I know.
there.
I fly over it every day and you can see it all gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite way to go to the movies is the drive-in. It's too bad that they're all becoming like that.
Hopefully Midland will stay open.
Yeah, well, they've managed to so far. And the one in Oro Medante is still open.
Collingwood traffic, Golf Romeo Tango is holding short, and traffic coming close to Collingwood Airport. What's your ETA?
I am 8 minutes from the airport right now, coming in from the east.
Okay, I'm going to be taking off onto 13 and Collingwood traffic, Golf Romeo Tango is taking position for 13, Collingwood.
The one trend I have noticed this summer, which is different than most, is like we just heard on the radio there, and yourself. Women pilots. Awesome. Good. It's a new trend I'm hearing. Like last year, not so many, but
Yeah.
as I fly every day, I'm hearing a lot of them training there. And like you're flying today, which is really nice to see. I could never understand why this hobby/career is dominated by men. I don't get it.
Yeah, I know.
Because
just over, coming up over with
it doesn't rely on anything that a man could do different, right?
Collingwood traffic, Golf Romeo Tango is rolling on
That was like when I was in Air Cadets, there was literally probably about only five of us.
Really, huh?
Yeah.
So right there, that's my home base. That's Edenvale right there, that airport.
Oh, cool.
So, and Midland's just over here, so it's just a quick flight that I do right across here to get there.
That's not the one that has the little restaurant, is it?
There is a restaurant there, yeah.
Oh, is it?
The Hangar Bar and Grill.
That's the one I was thinking of.
So if we were to sort of look at the area from here off that way, you'll see Campenfelt Bay in Barrie. It kind of sticks out this way, that waterway.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then that big body of water off the horizon is Lake Simcoe. Right in front of us, that's Little Ore Lake. Off in that direction is obviously Midland and Christian Island over here. Just to kind of give you an idea of what's going on up here, right?
It's just so pretty.
It is. No, it's an amazing way to get around, that's for sure.
Collingwood traffic, Golf Romeo Tango is clear of the circuit and heading towards Thornbury, Collingwood.
Like out that way just looks like it goes forever.
Yeah, it is
Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee right
pretty
over
freaky. It looks like the ocean, right?
Sorry,
Yeah.
Wasaga Beach, heading westbound for Collingwood Airport.
I don't know what altitude that guy is at, but I'm going to announce us.
And Wasaga Beach area traffic, SportStar India Juliet Kilo Yankee is directly overhead Wasaga Beach, traveling eastbound at 4,000 feet.
I see that guy. He's way, way down there. Probably wouldn't see him, but yeah, he's just flying right down there, about 2,000 feet lower than us. Planes are so hard to see when you're flying.
Yeah.
The problem is we're being inundated with visuals up here, right? Like everything's so vast and big, it's so hard to see something that's tiny, and a plane is tiny. Like if you just look at the size of a barn, for instance, on the ground, it looks like a speck. Now think, you could probably fit 10 planes in some of those barns.
Yep.
So the plane is just like this little dot.
Literally running around the sky.
Yeah. The only thing is they tend to be so damn dangerous to us, so we want to make sure we avoid each other. I don't know if it's just nature's law, but planes tend to fly next to other planes. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. I think they should do a study on it, see if there's some kind of psychopathic thing, or you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
because we have the entire sky to fly in, but quite often you'll find pilots will be flying towards each other or almost in the exact same vicinity or at the same exact altitude. I don't know why.
It's kind of like when you go into a store and it's like it's empty, and then all of a sudden there's like tons of people come in after you.
Yep. Yeah, you go to check out and you're waiting in line forever, and you walked in and there wasn't a soul there. Yeah, that's the big man in the sky playing games with us.
So, what is the choke for?
The choke is what we use to add more fuel into the carburetor when we try to start it when the engine's cold. So we only use that usually the first start of the day, or in the winter when it tends to get cold pretty quick and you shut it off. You might have to choke it to start it. Old cars used to have that as well. So like in the winter time, you would have to pull your choke and then start the car, and then you release it.
Yep.
Obviously, we get into discussing how all that stuff works whenever we do the ground school portion, because we teach everybody how the carburetor works and what it does for us and what these levers do. But in a basic way, that's what it does. It helps you start the plane on a cold first start of the day. So the airport we started at is right this way.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Now we don't have to go back there yet.
Is it okay if I follow this?
Yeah, go ahead. You can do whatever you want. If you want to do like some tight turns and stuff, go for it. Like I said, you got the safety of me sitting here, so take advantage of it. And if you have, like I said, any question, even if you think it's crazy, ask away, because you ain't gonna know unless you ask.
I'm just having a fun time.
Good. The heights don't bother you at all?
No.
Obviously not. Your stomach's okay, like it's not making your stomach upset?
Nope.
You're crossing all the bridges you have to cross to be a pilot. Because a lot of people, those are hurdles for them. They want to fly, but they're afraid of heights.
Collingwood Airport traffic says the 172 Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee, just about to turn on.
It's funny because when I go up a ladder, like I'm up a ladder, I'm like,
Same problem with me. You won't catch me on the roof of my house,
No.
none of that, but in a plane, no problem. Well, then that's good. You can tell that these things want to fly. They don't drop from the sky like in the movies, right? Like that's all Hollywood nonsense. A plane, like I said, it's designed to fly. Worst case scenario, like I said, the engine fails. This thing's going to glide almost the exact same way we're flying it right now. The only difference is we're not going to remain level anymore. It's going to gradually descend because we have no more energy to pull us forward.
Shoreline westbound to the Thornbury area, 3,500, Collingwood traffic.
If you want an example of how smooth that is, I can demonstrate that for you, or allow you to demonstrate it for us.
I'll allow you to demonstrate that.
Okay. Well, then let me just quickly show you. So I have control. If our engine failed, this is what would happen. So now the engine's doing nothing for us. All I have to do is get to my slowest speed, which is 60. I pull back. This is the ultimate gliding speed for this plane. So right around here. So there's the angle of descent we'd be doing. So right now we're looking for a nice spot to land, and we would easily go right to that airport. Actually, at this height right now, we could probably make it all the way out to Midland if we had to. We could make it all the way to those fields way over there in La Fontaine.
Huh.
So it's relatively safe, and you can do everything. Steer the aircraft while in the descent. This is a dead engine. So the stuff you see in the movies of these planes dropping out of the sky, total nonsense.
Collingwood Airport traffic, I'm just turning on to left base right now.
And I really wish they would stop doing that because it scares people away.
72 Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee.
So if you want to take over again, plane is yours. There you go, you got control again.
Collingwood area traffic, Oscar Alpha Mike, eastbound, just leaving Thornbury along the shoreline at 2,000 feet.
So as you can see, that was nothing violent, right? Like,
No.
It was just a gentle gliding.
Trying to figure out where Victoria Harbor is.
Yep, you got it. So that bay right there is Penetang, and right over there is Midland.
Feet just over the town of the Blue Mountains. We'll stay well inland from the shoreline. No conflict. Oscar Alpha Mike, copy. Thank you.
Hi, Collingwood Air Traffic, Charlie Box Echo Charlie is about 4 miles to the east of Lake Eugenia, climbing through 3,800.
So you're thinking about possibly getting a license in this, like getting a license to fly?
Yeah.
Nice.
And local traffic, be advised.
Yeah, forgive me, I speak to so many people every day on the phone, and the day you called me, I was in line at a store, and I was like, oh no, and I'm trying to write down what you're saying to me, and I'm like, okay. And then the person at the counter was asking me a million questions, and I don't know what, just take my money. Can't you see I'm on the phone right now?
Yeah, doing a go around for runway 13.
Yeah, it's I guess that Murphy's Law nonsense again, right? Bring this stuff through, show me the price, I pay. That's it, simple. Now instead, would you like bags with that? Would you want this? Come on, I'm on the phone.
I think the thing that makes me the most nervous is when I'll have to do a solo.
You know, every pilot is terrified of it, but it's obviously an instructor's job to get you to the point where you are confident in your abilities. Not that the instructor is confident in your abilities. I can't stress that enough. You know, I have some people that come to me and they want to get their pilot license on the cheap, and that's fine. But I tell them, I said, the biggest hurdle to get your license is going to be you, not me. I'm going to teach you how to fly this thing in 10 hours, takeoff and land and all that stuff. 10 hours of flight training, I'll almost guarantee that you'll be taking off this plane, you'll understand the basics of flight law, how to enter into the circuit to land, all of this stuff. The remainder is learning all your procedures, you know, radio communications, more law stuff, and flying emergency procedures. Then the rest is all confidence. It really is. It has to come down to you feeling like you're the queen of this aircraft. And, you know, some people, you know, they get it quickly. They feel confident. Some people are too confident. And and I have to bring them down a notch, right? Like it works both ways. Yeah, there's nothing worse than having a cocky pilot, right? Because they're going to get hurt one day.
I know having that little bit of fear is good.
Oh yeah, you need it. You need it because, you know, it's your life, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, somebody else's if you have a passenger. So right in front of us, that's Christian Island. Off to the right here, you can see Thunder Beach. It looks kind of neat how it's like cut out.
Yeah.
Almost like a perfect...
What's that over there, that little island? It's not little, but...
Giant's Tomb.
Oh, that is Giant's Tomb.
Yeah. And back over there off the back of the wing should be Beausoleil. There you go. That's a more aggressive turn. I like it. Nice. Well, you're handling it so well because what people have a hard time with, generally the first hour we spend flying in a lesson is to teach somebody how to fly straight and level. Well, you don't have to do that. You already know how. And then the next lesson is generally teaching somebody how to do turns without climbing and descending. You've already mastered that in an intro flight, which is really, really good. Mind you, we're getting off easy today because it's not turbulent.
Yep.
When it gets turbulent, it kind of changes things a little bit. But you're really cool on the control, so that's awesome.
Yeah, Collingwood area traffic, Collingwood airport traffic, I should say. Collingwood Airport, this is Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee, just on a shore final right now.
That person needs to clean up their backyard.
Look at that. You can see everything from up here. Oh, you'd be amazed at some of the stuff I've seen from up here.
There's a little marina over there.
Yeah. Guess that would be La Fontaine right there. Yeah, you can see a lot of things from up here, things that people would never expect you to see. Yeah, like this turn is beautiful, perfect. Very, very well controlled turn.
I'm just a hairstylist from Midland.
I'm sure. I'm telling you, there's going to be a camera crew sitting there.
Yeah, Collingwood Airport traffic, Golf Alpha Romeo Yankee.
You're going to have a YouTube channel about how you punk people and all this shit. So obviously there is the airport. When you bring a plane into land, I don't know if you remember back from the Air Cadet days, that we can't just go to a runway and land. We're supposed to enter what they call the circuit. It's sort of like this little imaginary highway that exists above the airport, which resembles, if you were looking at a map, sort of like a rectangle over top of a runway area, right? So, like I said, it's highways that exist. We have to enter into those highways, but first we have to decide what direction we're going to land at. Well, we want to land into the wind. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to make a radio announcement or a call out to Midland Airport and see if he's going to give me updates on what wind direction we're getting there. And then from there we're going to decide what runway we're going to use. So I'll do that now.
Midland Unicom, this is SportStar, India Juliet Kilo Yankee.
Juliet Kilo Yankee, Midland Unicom.
Midland Unicom, Juliet Kilo Yankee for an airport advisory.
Winds at Midland are favoring runway 16, so from 150 degrees at 3 knots, and there's no reported locals.
Thank you, Juliet Kilo Yankee.
All right, so he told us that the runway we want to use is that one right there, land in this direction.
Collingwood traffic.
So in order to do that, we have to enter the circuit. We're going to have to come on this side of the airport, so you can steer us over there. There's the turbulence. What it is we're kind of going through some of this light wispy cloud. See the cloud right here?
Yep.
Right hand out, westbound along the shoreline.
So we're going to come off to the right of the airport, and we're going to descend. See this road here? That long highway that runs that way parallel to the airport? We're going to kind of go over that and descend all the way down to 1,800 feet. But we're just going to do a gentle descent, so we can just start dropping down on towards that road. What we're doing here is we're going to be entering what they call the downwind leg of our landing. The downwind exists about 3/4 of a mile from the airport off to the side. Actually, no, we're not going to do downwind because we're going to cross over. I don't want to confuse you. We'll fly out this direction with this road. We're still going to go down to 1,800 feet. Then we're going to cross over top of the airport. And then we're going to enter into what they call the downwind, base, and final. So we're kind of going to go this way across the airport, then turn left this way, then left again, and then land. It's confusing, but that's why we train, right? To figure this stuff out. Now, of course, if we had an emergency, we could go straight in and land there, but we don't, so we're not allowed to do that. So I'm just going to announce and tell everybody what we're doing in case there is somebody flying around here.
Traffic, uniform Juliet Foxtrot. Departing 13, climbing out right hand out. We cross over the field and head to the shoreline. Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee is 5 miles northwest of the field at 3,200. Going to descend to circuit height, cross overhead the field, and join a mid-left downwind, 16.
So now that we're getting lower to the ground, you can see more stuff in people's backyards.
Nice pools.
Yeah. Yeah, your directional control is amazing.
Along the shoreline at 2,400 westbound. Collingwood traffic, Oscar Alpha Mike overhead the field to join mid-left downwind for 13, full stop.
Your descent is nice and gentle, which is perfect. You don't want to be slamming this thing down because we pick up unnecessary speed that could be dangerous. Oh, we got another 500 feet of descent to do. We're still going to remain in this direction. Whenever we reach midpoint of that field, we're going to turn towards it and fly right over top.
Midland traffic, Helicopter Foxtrot, Hotel Alpha. We're 5 miles back to the south, 2,100 feet. Going to pass this south of the field. Up to Midland, traffic conflicting west Hotel Alpha.
So you're now coming up almost on your altitude.
Traffic, Oscar Alpha Mike, turning mid-left downwind for 13.
So right here's where we want to be. We want to stop our descent here. Pull back on that stick a little bit. Let's level us off.
Leaving altitude.
So we're just going to need to go up 100 feet. Just adding a little bit of power for you. Give a little pull back on that stick. That's it.
Approaching altitude.
And right now we can do a left turn. We're going to cross right over top of that runway. Part of the reason why we do this, it gives the pilot an opportunity to inspect the runway to make sure that there's nothing on there No animals, people, vehicles, anything like that. Other planes. So the runway looks clear for us. We can also have a good look at the windsock from here. And the wind isn't barely doing anything from what I see.
And calling it traffic, Oscar Alpha Mike, turning left base for 13, full stop. Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees overhead the field to join the mid-left downwind, 16.
So right now we're exactly 1,000 feet over the ground. We have to be at this height to be in the circuit. So just pull back just a little bit more. I'm going to try to get you to land this thing. I think you can do it.
Oh, God.
You can do it.
Approaching altitude.
The way you've been flying, I don't see how you can't do it, so. All right, so right here, we're gonna make another left turn, but we have to remain at 1,800 feet. So just pull back a little bit on that nose and we'll do a left turn here. And we're gonna just fly parallel to this road. This is called doing our downwind.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning mid-left downwind, 16.
Very nice.
Last call, was that for Midland traffic?
That is Midland traffic.
Okay, Roger, this is Hotel Alpha, about a mile south of the field, just passing through at 2,300 feet on over to Midland.
Calling it traffic, Oscar Alpha Mike, turning final, 13, full stop.
So right around here, we're going to turn left, and we're going to do another 90 degree in that direction.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, turning left base, 16, full stop.
You can feel the turbulence down at this low altitude, right? Kind of pushing us around now. Awesome. So this is called our base. This is where we're going to slow the plane down. I'm going to start throttling back. We're going to get that speed in this white area. That means it's safe for me to put the flaps on. So we're just going to keep it straight here for now. And right around here. Now I'm going to reach down and get this flap lever. 1 flap, 2 flap. It's going to point the nose down. So what we want to do is we want to control the speed of the plane with the stick. If we want the plane to go faster, we push down. If we want it to go slower, we pull back. So this is us turning final. I'm going to ghost you on the controls, but you can still do this.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankee, turning final, 16, full stop.
All right, so now we're nice and level. I want you to feel how heavy the stick gets now. If I let go of it, be ready for it. It's going to be heavy. Feel that? Your airspeed is awesome. We want 65 as our target. And you just keep aiming back and forth. That's it. Look at that. Nice. If it starts going a little too fast, just pull back a little bit. We use our throttle for the altitude. So if we start sinking too fast, I just add a bit of power. But right now we're sinking perfectly. So far you got this. That's right, just let her drift a little bit to the right here. A little bit more to the right. I'm adding a little bit of power to keep us floating. So right here we're going to bring the nose forward. Right here. Now we'll just keep flying. Oh, a little bit hard on the stick. So let me put us back down here. No, be ready. I want you to hold this. You got it? All right. So we just keep flying the plane. There you go.
Oh!
Good job.
I can let go, right?
Yep, you can let go. Right now I'm on the brakes. The brakes are up on my toes up here when I stand on my tiptoes. Right now I'm just letting it coast. Applying brakes again. That was awesome.
That was.
Good job.
Midland traffic, Juliet Kilo Yankees, clear of 16 on Bravo to the apron.
Good job.
Thank you very much.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that.
I did.
Good.
Yes.
Juliet Kilo Yankees.
Huh?
I said I can't wait.
Yeah.